Hi everyone, I welcome you all into this dellboomi session. Uh, in this session, we are going to talk about integration with ServiceNow. Okay, one of the very common use case these days, like integration with Salesforce, ServiceNow. These are very common when you start working in the real time. And since you already know how does the integration with Salesforce work, uh, I think doing the integration with ServiceNow will be pretty easy. And it's not about ServiceNow. If you work with any SaaS application, also it should be more or less similar. So, any idea what is ServiceNow?
No, Sumit.
Okay, so then get an idea. So there are some tools which falls in ITSM2, which are called as ITSM tools, right? So this is like IT services management, right? So we all are either planning to work in IT companies, or some of us are already working in IT companies, right? So what happens is, as a part of doing that, like you have to manage your IT services also, right? So for example, in all the big companies there'll be IT department, right? In that, so any software request which comes throughout the company has to be taken care by the some specified central team, right? We call it as IT desk or something like that. uh, so now they will maintain some tool, okay, where they will have all the tickets, who is working on which ticket, what is the current status, how many tickets did not meet SLA. What is SLA?
Service level agreement.
Very nice. Service level agreement. So what happens is, whenever we are working on any kind of support, we will have some SLA set. So for example, if there is a ticket with, let's say, low priority, it will be resolved in 3 days. If there is a ticket with medium priority, it will be resolved in, let's say, 2 days. If it's a high priority, it will be resolved, let's say, in one day. If it is very critical, let's say it will be resolved in 4 hours, right? And this SLAs will be there in all the support projects. Okay. So what happens is, we need certain tools to manage it, right? So we have different tools in the market, and one of this demanding tools these days, one of the very powerful tools we have in the market is ServiceNow. So like, I have worked with different companies who uses ServiceNow to manage their IT services, where throughout the company, any kind of tickets have to be raised. Even, I mean, it is not only used for IT services management. It is customized, it can be used for other purposes also, right? And it is completely a customizable solution. Okay, it is a customizable solution. So now this is a cloud-based offering. This is a cloud-based offering, and let me tell you, ServiceNow itself, okay, uses Boomi as their integration platform. ServiceNow itself uses Boomi as their integration platform. So, so even within ServiceNow also, you will see there are a lot of jobs on Boomi. Okay. So just to let you know, right, especially people who are in Hyderabad region, right? I personally know few people who are working in ServiceNow on Boomi. So just this is an insight. So when you're going for any such kind of interviews, right, definitely they'll ask you one thing: what do you know about ServiceNow? Do you know how does the integration with ServiceNow works, and all that stuff? Correct. So now what we'll do is, in this session we'll try to understand uh, what what is ServiceNow a little bit. How can we integrate with ServiceNow, right? And maybe somebody asks you a use case, right? When did you use ServiceNow or something like that? So now what happens is, I'll give you a real time scenario. So let's say business may have a access to a ServiceNow. Okay. So anyone who is aware about Jira, so we use this for project managements.
Yes, Sumit.
Yeah. If you do not know all those things, try to explore, guys. So a lot of people come to me when we'll go to interview, how will we manage? all that stuff. So it is not only about what you speak, it is also about your exposure, right? Because that exposure will give you confidence when you talk in front of the interviewer. So you have to just, you listen the session and then you go away and then you feel you will get the job. That's not going to happen. Each terminology which you find unique on this notepad, right from the notepad of day one, you have to start exploring it, right? So Jira is a project management tool from a company called as Atlassian, right? And they have a lot of offerings, right? Even within our company, right? TGH, we use Jira. Some of the folks who are there on this call, right, are from my company also, and we do use Jira for all internal project management. If you are not aware, get an idea. That should be fine, right? So what happens is Jira is typically used by technical folks, right? For keeping a track of what are you working on, uh, what is the current status, how many tickets you have in backlog and all that stuff, right? Whereas service now typically might be used by support team or maybe business users to raise a ticket. So now what might happen is, this is one use case which I've seen in real time also. So whenever a ticket is created in service now, right, whenever an issue is raised in service now, or a ticket is created, right, or a case is created in service now, we want a story to be created in Jira in backlog. Okay. So in Jira, what happens is all the tasks which we want to do are bundled into a logical unit called as a story. Okay. So what we want is, the moment somebody is raising an issue over here, it should automatically go and get created in Jira, and maybe it will go and get assigned to some specific person, maybe a manager or a scrum master, who can go and delegate and assign it to one specific person, so that whatever issue we are getting in our real time systems, right, those are addressed, you know in lesser time, or the turnaround time should be less, right? So earlier what used to happen is, we used to go into the logs, we used to observe what is going in the logs. Based on the logs, we'll create a ticket, then somebody will kind of take care of it. But now with all these new connectors coming out, right, with all these new APIs coming out, with all this new cloud adoption, integrating with this cloud based platforms is really easy. So as a part of our error handling, we should write a mechanism wherein we can basically create the tickets automatically if something is going wrong. Yeah. So in the service, so sometimes you might ask, uh, can we create the story directly in the Jira instead of using service now? Even that can be done. So it is not necessary first we create things in service now and then we have to write an integration to move the things in Jira. Like I have been working for a customer wherein when we get error, we directly create a issue in Jira itself. Okay, that's what that depends on the organization's guidelines. Some organizations would want everything to be tracked within ServiceNow itself and only the technical stuff to be moving to Jira, right? Whereas some other organizations can use Jira itself for generating different tickets, right? Some organizations uses Salesforce also. In Salesforce, there is an object called as case. In Salesforce, there is an object called as cases, right? Some organizations even use that, right? So there can be another integration scenario, whereas whenever a case is created in Salesforce, automatically a ServiceNow ticket should get generated and it should get assigned to a person who will work on it, right? So for example, when you call your telecom service providers, right? Maybe Vodafone, Airtel, that this is not working. So what they will do is, if they're using some CRM, they will use that and they will create a case over there. And that case internally might go to the IT service management tool and it will get assigned to one individual who will work on it. Okay. So for example, you did not opt for caller tunes, but caller tunes got activated for you and some amount got deducted. This was your concern. So what you will do is, you will call their executives. So their executives are non-technical people. Okay, their job is to just talk to you, understand your problem statement, and pass it on to the next team. So what they will do, they will create a case in the CRM. So that case internally might get integrated with their ITSM tool, where in this tool, for example, for that case, 5 different actions have happened, right? Maybe first it got assigned to someone, he reviewed everything. So timely there will be updates. Whenever something gets changed, all those history will be maintained over here. When it was opened, when it was closed, who worked on it, how much time it took to resolve it, right? Which department it got routed to, all that stuff, right? So these are the scenarios which happens even in real time where these kind of integrations happens, right? So now we will see how does that service now integration works. So first of all, we should have the service now instance for that, right? We should have service now instance. So now what you can do is you can write service now developer account login. Okay, so you can just type this. So it is taking some time, just hold on. So you have to go to ServiceNow developer account. Okay. So when we were working on the Salesforce also, I asked you to create a developer account. So this is your ServiceNow developer account. Right. So you can go and basically create. So it is asking build your app and all that. It is saying sign up and start building, right? So we'll click on sign up and start building. Here you will enter your details. Okay. First name, last name, email ID. Okay. They accept your Gmail IDs also. They accept your Gmail ID also. You can sign up and all that stuff over here. Yeah. So for me, I think I have already one account. So I'll directly go and sign in. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay, I'm back. So now here, this is my email ID, I think, with which I registered. Okay, make sure you try all these integrations. These are very, very important. And this will give you more confidence, right? Just watching these videos will not help you. So now you are here, right? So for example, here there is an option request instance. Yes, I'll click on this. So there are different offerings in this. You can read about this, how these are different from each other, right? So I will use this Paris instance, or there is an option restore an instance, right? I already created an instance few days back. I can restore, and is saying restoration process can take up to 8 hours, right? So I will just quickly request for a new instance. So it is saying we are processing your request. This will only take a few seconds, right? So we never entered any kind of credit card details. We just went to the service now. We created a developer account, and they spinned up one instance for us. So you should keep all these details handy. Okay, do not try to use any of my instances details, guys. Yeah. So we'll keep these details handy somewhere here. So this is the URL. This URL would be required later on while doing the integration. So that's why you have to keep it handy. And this details I'll keep in a different notepad so that I don't end up sharing this with a notepad over here. Perfect. So this is done. So what we'll do is we'll go here, we'll open a new tab, and very quickly we'll get the URL. So this is the URL for your ServiceNow instance, right? which you just configured. You will go here and you will launch this. So there are a lot of things which can happen around service now, right? So in real time, you don't need to bother how to configure service now, how to do customization over there. That is not your job. Okay. That will be taken care by a separate team. So there'll be a ServiceNow team who will be taking care of that. We just need to bother about Boomi piece. But since I want to show you end to end so that you understand it, that's why I'm doing all this stuff, right? So we'll get the password, admin, login. And when you do it end to end, you will also have a different level of confidence for sure. Okay, so this is how that ServiceNow management page, landing page looks like. It might differ for different organizations. So this is like the vanilla flavor. Vanilla flavor means which comes out of the box. Now, if you want to customize it as per your requirement, I have seen different enterprises using it differently. That is fine, right? So you have a lot of things. You have service catalog, which means what are the different services we have, right? uh, you have option here called as incidents. Yes or no? So you can see there is one instance. So this might be a shared instance, right? So there is one instance which probably got created by someone else. So if I go to this incident, you can see some details, right? Who opened this? What is the priority? What is the impact? Any comments? All that stuff, right? Even if you want, you can create your own instances, right? So you can see what is pending for your approval. So there are a lot of things which can happen over here. Okay, this is a very vast and powerful tool, right? So now what we want to do is we want to automate such that whenever any error happens in our Boomi, right? So we were working on an error handling framework, right? And whenever any error happens, I mentioned that I want to do two to three different things. One is I want to notify the user, right? So what are the different mechanisms to notify the end user or maybe the support team?
Mail, email.
Yes, we can notify via an email, right? For that, either we can send a we can send it via a mail connector or we can use notify shape. Yes, or else let's say you have some Slack. How many of you have used Slack? Okay. Okay, if you have not used Slack, that's fine. Okay, not a big deal, but just get an idea. Okay, Slack is more like WhatsApp, not exactly WhatsApp, but yeah, it is a more formal way of communicating. It is used in the enterprises and the offices when there are big teams and we want some mode of communication among the different team members where we can do calls, where we can do a quick instant messages to them. So that is used, and even the Slack, I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but it has recently been
Sumit,
acquired by Salesforce.
yeah, Sumit, last company I have used Slack.
Very nice. Many companies are using it, and now since Salesforce acquired it, so you will see a lot of more companies in future using it. Okay, so many companies use Skype also, right? Nowadays a lot of people are using Microsoft Teams also. Yes, so it depends, different companies use different mechanisms, right, depending on the licenses or relationships they have. So the point I'm trying to convey over here is there can be a mechanism wherein when any error happens, you can create a ping over there, right? So even you can think of it like this. There can be a mechanism when any error happens, there is an automatic ping which is going to your WhatsApp, something like that, right? So WhatsApp may have their own APIs also, right, to post. So one thing is we are manually doing it. So when you click on the enter button, right, on WhatsApp, so internally there are some APIs which are getting called, and those APIs are transferring messages from your mobile device to other mobile device. That is what is happening behind the scenes. Okay, so APIs are almost everywhere, which is facilitating all these integrations across different devices at different locations, right? So now the point I'm trying to say is we built some part of the error handling, but but then we did not see the integration with the service now, right? So what we'll do is we'll start with a new component, process integration with service now. So when you're working in real time, right, a lot of people call it as snow. Okay, snow means nothing but service now, S for service and NOW. So don't get confused. Oh my god, I'm not sure if this is also disabled now. Okay, let me see. So what we'll do is we'll just come back over here. We'll see. I think even this is gone.
Sumit, you want to use my credentials?
Yeah, anyone's credentials is fine. If you can just ping me,
Yeah,
it will
sure.
be helpful. I don't know what is happening, you know. Okay, no worries. We'll use some other credentials. There is an issue with this account. Again, I thought this might work, but then
I just pinged my credentials on.
you pinged it in the chat window.
No, in WhatsApp.
Okay, I didn't receive it. Okay, I don't think you should use this credential, Swapna. This reveals your company details. Okay. Okay, we'll use other details. What was that? Sai, can you? I will use your details only. Okay.
Yeah, Sumit. Yeah, Sumit. I will WhatsApp you.
Yeah. Can you just tell me your email ID? I know the password. What is the user address?
Podali 060 @gmail.com.
Can you spell it for me?
KODALI
Hmm.
060
Okay.
@gmail.com. Password Boomi at the rate
Okay.
of.
Okay. Pass. You should not speak all these passwords on this kind of platform. This all is getting recorded. Okay. Anyhow, I know the password. So all right. So we are here. That's fine. We'll get into the integration and we'll start using it. So we'll create a new folder or a new component, right? Perfect. Right. So I think, you know, we typically start with a process with the start shape of no data type, and then we may have a message shape, right? So instead of message shape in real time, we may have the data coming from some source application, right? So do you recall we created some error message structure like this, right? In which we can have, it may not be error message. Let's say it can be something like error info. And within that error info, I may have a lot of details. Let's say we have some error message, okay? And this error messages that the mapping is not working because the source data does not match the profile. You might have seen, this kind of error many a times, not exactly the way I have written, but yeah, more or less same, that the data does not match the source profile. So that will happen when, you have the profile defined in one format and the data is coming in a different format. So this might be some XML, right? Error info. And here I will just correct things, error message, right? And this is your actual message, right? So this is a XML. So if you want to validate if it is a fine I mean, whether it is a legitimate XML or not, you can go and just do a validation, but I think it should be fine. So click on OK, save. Now, when you want to connect with ServiceNow, we have to see whether there is a connector which will facilitate that. Do you see there is a connector for ServiceNow? Yes. So you see there are two. So these days, earlier probably they use the SOAP implementation of ServiceNow, and then they are coming up with ServiceNow REST. Did you see some similar flavor for any other connector earlier, where we had a like normal connector and then there was a REST version of it? Even for
ST.
S3, right? If you remember, when we were working on S3, here also, I don't know if they removed other one or what, but even for S3 it was there. But the point is, these are the more advanced ones. REST ones are the advanced ones, so it's better you use that. Okay, so for ServiceNow also we can get ServiceNow REST. Okay. So now to establish the connectivity, I might need certain details, which is fine. Let's look at those. So over here, there are different actions: get, delete, create, update, advanced query. So now let's say I would want create action. Since I want to generate a ticket, then I will go to the connection details. Okay, there is an authentication type, OAuth or basic. So right now it is basic for me. There is some base URL. So we have that information. This is your base URL, and that's why I kept it handy. Then there is another information about username and a password. User is admin, and the password I'll enter over here. Save all the stuff, and let's use test connection, right? And when you want to test the connection, you can use this atom also. If you want to use this for your whole integration, or if you want to use the test atom cloud, that is also fine. So it is saying it is failed. Enabled relative references are usable when a base reference is set. Okay, I don't know. Connector error, unable to process the response. Relative references are only usable when a base reference is set. Okay. So I think this is a REST connector. Maybe they changed something. Let me try once again. Okay, we'll just go to information. So now they're asking enter the URL for the ServiceNow API service endpoint, including the instance code and the API major and the minor version. For example, this one, right? So what we will do is whatever is there, we'll append. So earlier, actually, this was not required. Okay, so since they have kind of upgraded their connector and now it is a REST connector, maybe the mechanism to use the connection is changed, because internally behind the scene, for all these connectors, the APIs are working, right? So ServiceNow has developed a lot of APIs. Salesforce has developed APIs. If you go for any other tool for that matter, right? Let's say you work with NetSuite, they have their own APIs. If you go for SuccessFactors, they have their own APIs. And what the companies like dellboomi or MuleSoft have done is they have used those APIs and clubbed them into a connector so that you don't need to bother which API is used for login, which API is used for kind of creating the data, which API is used for kind of updating the data. Those all things are taken care within the connector. Now you see the connection worked, and this is pretty simple, right? When you start working in the companies, people will take one day effort to establish the connectivity only, but it does not take that much time. You saw, right? It is just 38 minutes. We started this session. We configured the instance. We established the connectivity and it worked. And sometimes if it does not work, do not panic. Go through the documentation, you will get an idea, right? So we tried with the traditional way, the way it used to work in the previous connector, it didn't work. So there'll be definitely some kind of documentation. Use this information or go to the documentation of this connector, you will get some help. Okay. Save and close. The connectivity got established, right? Which is a good part. Now we'll go to the operation. So here, you know, right? This is a common methodology we have been using. So we'll use a connection. There is a display value and a display value. What is the meaning of value and a display value? Enter the UI view, determine the fields. So from the UI perspective over here, right? So right now you're an incident, right? So there might be one value. So you see, what is it saying? Current view. What is the current view? Self-service. Can you see that? When I hover over this, not. What is the current view? Self-service. Click me for other views. That's what it is saying, right? So what the point I'm trying to say is right now we are into the self-service view. So there is another view, right? Let's say benchmark view, business calendar view, guided setup view. So now if you want to basically, use the views while doing any search, you can use that. There are some other filters also. So here what we will do is, so these are some new options which they have added in the REST connector. Okay. In previous connector, it was just to give the details about the object which you want to play around with, right? So they have added this views and all, that's fine. We'll try to type here incident. Okay. Because right now, majorly, I want to play around with the incident object. Can you see along with the incident also, there are 3 different objects, right? So I want to just play around with the incident object for now. And these all information you will get with the ServiceNow people, right? What is the object I need to do an integration with, all that stuff. So you see your profiles are automatically created. We'll go to the request profile. What is the format of this profile? JSON, yes or no? And when you used to use previous connector, that it used to get created XML. Okay, if some of you, if you have seen my previous videos or sessions, it was XML. REST, it does not mean REST always works with JSON. REST works with XML also, but the recommended or more commonly used way with REST is JSON. That's fine. So this profiles got created, very nice. So now what should happen? One thing is we should have some map, isn't it? So let me add a map for the time being. Okay. Why do we need a map? Because whatever data we will get, we need to convert it into a format which service now understands, right? And what is the format service now understands?
JSON.
Very nice, JSON. So we already have a profile for that. All right, we will expand it. And now you see there are a lot of fields. So some of these fields might be standard fields. Some of these fields might be custom fields, right? So for example, if you go here on the service now, if you see here, this number, just hold on. So there will be actually 2 names. I don't know why it's not coming up. When you left click it, then you will get the API name. So you remember in Salesforce, we had 2 names.
Yes.
API names and label.
Yes, API names and labels. Very nice. Or we also called as field names and labels. So whatever you see, this number, caller, watch list, short description, these are labels. These are labels which are visible on the UI, right? And now if I want to see the actual name, right? So there might be multiple ways. I'm not an expert, but can you see here you have an option configure label and there is short underscore description. That short underscore description is the API name. Yes. Similarly for, let's say, urgency. Can you see? So some of the names may be exactly matching to the labels, but it is not necessary. And one another thing you can observe is this all API names are in lowercase, isn't it? So on this page, what do you think is the mandatory thing? Okay, if let's say I want to create a new incident, right? So I want to go back to the incidents. How can I go back to the incidents? So which view are the incidents in? Self-service view. I want to create new, right? So some of the information automatically got populated, right? Now when you're creating a new incident, what is the mandatory thing you see on the UI?
Number.
Short description, right? This red color indicates mandatory. Yes. So this number is automatically generated. We don't create it. Okay. Yes. Is it clear? This red color symbol, whatever you see, this indicates
It's a mandate.
mandatory, right? So few of the information will be automatically populated because when this service now might have been configured, some of the details might have been kind of defaulted, right? Some of the information might have been defaulted. So what we will do is we'll go back over here and we will try to search for these fields. Do we see any field short description? Yes. So the point I'm trying to say is there is a lot of information which can be mapped, but for now to start it, right? So for what information to map, what to not to map, for tracking this, what you will do when you're working in any project, you will create a mapping sheet. Okay. You need to create a mapping sheet. What you will capture in the mapping sheet? Guys, you have to answer it. What you will create in a mapping sheet? You will capture the fields from the source, their data type, whether those are mandatory or not, right? Then you will capture the fields from the target, data type, whether those are mandatory or not. Then what you will do? Which field of source is getting mapped to which field of target? And while we do the mapping, do we need to do some kind of transformation? Do we need to do some kind of transformation while doing the mapping? So you always need to prepare this kind of mapping sheet before you actually start doing mapping. You will not go and blindly do the mapping like this. Okay. So you will develop a mapping sheet where there are fields up from the source, there are fields from the target, and you will decide that this field from the source will get mapped to this field of target. Yes. Are you guys following or you're blank? I really don't understand. Nobody's answering anything.
Yeah, it's clear, Sumit.
Yeah. So now thing is, in this case, let's say I don't want to use a map shape. Okay. If I don't want to use a map shape, is there a way? I'll go here, I'll go to parameters and I'll add a parameter. In the parameters, do you see these all fields? Yes or no? So which is the mandatory field I have?
Short description.
Short description, very nice. So we could always use a map shape, but let's say you just want to map 2 or 3 fields, then sometimes you can avoid using a map shape and you can use parameters also. So can someone help me? Okay, here we have short description somewhere here. Yes. And in the short description, let's say right now I'm giving them some static message. Yeah. This is a test incident, right? And likewise, can you do the mapping for other parameters also? Yes, you can definitely do it, right? So I'll just add a stop shape. right after this. Save, and let's run the test. Okay, it works absolutely fine. So there is no error. That means the integration might have gone through. So we'll straight away look at the response from the ServiceNow connector, and let's see what do we get in the response. So do you see a lot of information over here? Yes or no? We just passed. What information did we pass? Only
This
the
is the rest, short description.
short description is what we passed, but we see there is a lot of so this short description is anyhow there, but apart from that there is a lot of information which got populated by default, and that's what you see over here. And what is your incident number, which is very significant for you, right? INC 10002. So what you will do is we'll go here into the ServiceNow incident, and if you want to search anything, right, here you can do a kind of a global search. Yes, you can do a global search over here and just hit, not this one, just hit enter. This, let me just refresh it quickly. Okay. Okay, let's wait for this to get refreshed. I'll go here, highlight enter. Okay, so it brings the incident number 10002. If you see short description, this is what we populated. Yes. So that means we are automatically, or we have been able to integrate with ServiceNow. We have been able to generate incidents over here by passing the information from Boomi. Yes. Does it make sense, guys?
Okay. Sumit, can you give me one scenario when do we need to create incidents in ServiceNow from Boomi?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? So if anything errors out in Boomi, let's say you have any technical error, you want to generate an incident which you might want to assign to, let's say, Boomi support team.
Okay, thank you.
Right? Because so you will have a dedicated Boomi support team, right? So what will Boomi support team do? They will have some report, or their support team will keep on checking what are the new incidents coming. And these incidents are automatically pushed by your error handling framework. So it is not necessary that they will work on all the incidents. Okay. So from the experience, they will know that this incident is coming because of some data issue. So what they might do is they might go and assign it to the business team that you send this request in which you did not send the right data, and you kind of ended up failing it, right? Sometimes they might feel, okay, that is a bug. So if it is a bug, then what they will do is they will assign it to the development team, right? Sometimes they will feel, okay, this is an issue with the platform, right? Maybe memory is not available on the atom is down. So then what they will do is they will keep the ticket with themselves, and they will try to do the maybe the bounce of the server and all that stuff. Any questions here on this?
Sumit, I have, can we set priority, urgency, and impact?
Yeah, definitely. So now, for example, so for all these, you have to get the values, okay? From this, for example, your priority options, or
Because, priority is important for the mission.
so right now here, the priority is 5 planning, right? So it is always not necessary that whatever value you see over here, right? One high, it may be the exact value which is there in the backend also. So this drop down may have the same exact value as you see on the UI, or it might be different value at the backend. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It may happen in the backend we pass urgency as 1, and it gets reflected as 1-high. So you will have to discuss with the ServiceNow team that let's say I want to generate the tickets with urgency as 1 or high, then what is the value you will expect?
Okay.
Okay. So for example, let us try it out. Okay. So let's try it out. So right now, and how can you get to know? So for example, for impact, do you see the value here is
3.
for priority 5? That's what I was trying to explain. But here, what do we see?
1 high.
So you have to understand what are the values needed from the backend, right? So now let's say for, we know these are numericals, right? So what I can do is I want to, let's say, create one more incident where I want to set the impact and priority also. Okay. Or we can try to set one of these. So we know these all are, here we have a priority, right? And let's say I will say 1. And now there can be a lot of configurations, right? It might happen that they have blocked this user to create incident 1 tickets. Right now we have an admin user, so it might not be blocked, but I'm telling you in real time, they can do the configurations that they can restrict that this user cannot create incidents with priority 1, because priority 1 tickets are required to be resolved really fast, right? So sometimes what will happen is, even though you will set some priority, the support team will have their own guidelines to decide the priority. They can always change the priority. So now what is the incident number? 4, right? So we'll go here. This is a global search. So we created it, though we passed what 1, but still the what is the impact or priority? Where is priority? It's still 5. So they may have some configurations at their end wherein it might not be allowing to change it. So let's see what got returned. We pass 1, right? Isn't it? Still in the response we are getting 5. Let us see if we did anything wrong, because I've seen this. So we had set the priority as 1, but still in the response we are seeing it as 5. So it all depends on configurations, because generally everybody may not have the rights to generate the tickets with priority 1, and there might be certain configurations at ServiceNow and also which needs to be taken care to get that enabled.
And assign to and all, same we have to ask to ServiceNow.
Exactly. So assign to, when you go to assign to, for example, where is assign to here?
Below priority, assignment group, below priority it is there.
Yes. So here, if you go here, there will be some assignment groups: analytics settings manager, application development team. So these all are like different objects. Okay. So these may have some kind of IDs behind the scenes. So I go here. Now you are seeing this application setting manager or analytics setting manager. But so let's do one thing. So sometimes if you're confused, right, what should be the value? And if you're not getting the required help from the service, now what you can do is you can do some settings like this, and you can try to perform the get incident. So when you will do get incident, you will get to know, right, what is the corresponding value for this assignment group, right? And then you will know that what value should I pass. If I want to have the assignment group as analytics settings manager. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes. We need to read operation and then.
Exactly. So you have to try. So ideally this information should come from the ServiceNow team, but it happens in the projects where you do not get the required help, and maybe those teams are busy with their things. So you can do the get call, you can get those information, but you should always get their validation done, right? You can tell that we feel that this is the value we need to pass for analytics setting manager, and they will send the confirmation.
Okay.
So that's pretty much about it, guys. Please try it out. We'll continue tomorrow. Does this time work better for you people, or I mean the earlier time, right? 1 hour prior, 9 a.m. IST or 10 a.m. IST? Which one is better?
So for me, 9 a.m. is better because
Yeah, we'll stick to that time. But for tomorrow also, I might need to do it this time. Actually, I had an important meeting, and that somehow did not happen, and it may happen tomorrow. We will stick to our regular time only, but I think for tomorrow as well, I might need to do at 10 a.m.
Tomorrow
IST.
also 10 a.m. Sumit.
Yeah, I mean, I can drop you a note. Finally, I will try to make sure that my meeting happens early. So you just keep a check on your email for the timing. That's what I would say. Okay.
okay.
Only for tomorrow. I mean, then we'll stick to the regular time.
Yeah.
And on this weekend, on Saturday, we'll have a longer session. Okay. About APIs. Saturday session will be very, very crucial. I would request anyone to not to miss that.
Saturday we will APIs. Sumit.
Yes, Saturday and Sunday. So we'll have a
Yes.
long sessions on APIs, which is very, very important.
Okay, Sumit.
All right, guys, we'll just wind it up. Let's catch tomorrow. All right.